Hello, my friends. Every rancher or livestock owner has that one season they dread. For some, it's a long, hot drought that seems to stretch forever. For others, it's the bitter winters when water freezes solid, the winds cut through every layer of clothing, and hay disappears like smoke in the wind. For me, I have faced both, and I'll be honest, there were years when I wondered if we were going to make it. Today, I want to tell you the story of the hardest season we ever went through and why we finally got through it. Not because we bought more hay, not because we had a neighbor bail us out, but because we learned how to plan before the hard season hit. And I want to be honest with you. This story is not about me pretending to be the expert who had it all figured out. This is about me being in the trenches, stressed, tired, broke, and nearly defeated, and what it felt like when I finally found a different way. So I want to tell you about when the longest summer drought in 60 years nearly broke us. And that particular year stands out more than all the rest. It had not rained in a long time, almost 11 months in that year, and temperatures up to 110. It was the worst drought in the last 60 years, and I had just received another herd of cattle, which doubled the number of cows for my ranch. Now, not out of choice, but I had to deal with it. And the grass hadn't finished its recovery period from lack of rains. I remember looking out over pastures that were still a little green but short and thinking, we'll make it work somehow. But after 11 months of no rain, and we were near the end of our normal rainy season before winter, I wasn't too worried. We had stockpile or standing hay, and I figured it would last. But when the rains didn't arrive, a month passed and another, the drought hung on week after week. Every day with no rain felt like money evaporating into thin air. By October, I had started feeding hay, buying it at high prices, and my hay bin or barn was shrinking faster than I wanted to admit. At night, I would sit at the kitchen table with a pencil, doing math I didn't want to face. If the drought stretched just a few weeks longer, we'd be out of hay, and hay wasn't available anymore as everybody around us was in the same situation. And if you ever been there, you know that knot in your stomach. Few things put more pressure on a rancher than staring at a hungry herd. No stockpile, no hay to feed them, and a bank account that doesn't have room for more feed. That was one of the hardest lessons of my ranching life. I don't talk about this often, but what made that season even harder was the stress nobody else could see. My neighbors might look over the fence and see cows chewing on hay and think everything's fine, but inside I was exhausted. Every day felt like I was pouring money underground. And yes, we did feed a small amount of high protein supplement every other day to keep the rumen working on the very high fiber, low protein tropical grass hay in the dry tropics. And every trip to the feed store felt like failure. Every time I looked at the calendar, I wondered if we would make it through the rain. And that's the part of ranching we don't talk about enough. The mental load, the weight of wondering how to keep the herd fed without breaking the bank. I can tell you right now, it nearly broke me. But here's the thing. Sometimes the hardest seasons force us to face the truth. I realized I couldn't keep depending on hay to save me. If I kept fighting my way out of trouble, I would always be one storm, one drought, one market swing away from getting broke. I needed a new plan. That's when I started paying closer attention to the ranchers who didn't run out of grass, the ones who had stockpiled grass, enough of it, who planned grazing with recovery in mind, and who managed differently. They weren't relying on luck. They weren't burning through hay like I was in the past. They had a system. And right then, I decided I wanted what they had. That's why I created Ranching Made Simple. Ranching Made Simple teaches those foundational strategies that get you ready before winter, before drought, before the stress sets in. Inside Ranching Made Simple, you will learn how to build a stockpile so your cows have standing hay for the difficult seasons. You will plan grazing so every acre works harder for you. Simplify infrastructure so you're not burning money on steel and pipes. And give yourself peace of mind as you head into the hardest season of the year. It's a system I wish I had back in those tough droughts, and the system that has helped ranchers around the world survive droughts, storms, and everything in between. And here is the best part in the September special. Today is the last day to jump in with a special offer. You can join Ranching Made Simple for only $7 your first month. That gives you the full online course plus membership in a ranching community where you can get real-world answers to your questions. Just use 40 off, that's 40, capital letters OFF at checkout. But don't wait, this promo ends tonight. Go to rwranching.com/ranching made simple as one word and use your code. I will never forget the hardest season of the year, the one when I almost ran out of hay, out of money, and out of hope. But I will also never forget the relief that came the next year when the system worked, when the cows kept grazing stockpile, and when the drought didn't break us. Planning, not panic, is what got us through. So if you're tired of white knuckling it through every winter or drought, take the first step today. Don't wait for the hardest season to force the lesson on you, because the best time to prepare is before it hits. And the peace of mind that comes from having a plan, that's worth more than any hay bale you'll ever roll out. May God bless you and your family. Until next time, keep it simple, keep it profitable, and keep building real wealth ranch.